things often get sort of lost on social media. So I just wanted to ask what you really meant with the Instagram post last night.
What I meant and what I said, I mean, I think I explained it fairly well, but obviously not a huge fan of the USJ and how they govern us all the time. I was under the impression that the rule had changed, and I was frustrated when the rule hadn't changed, why it hadn't changed, and I think there's some sort of, I mean, obviously we have a PGA Tour liaison that helps with the USJ and helps with in figuring out what the rules should and shouldn't be, and it didn't make any sense at that point in time why that rule hadn't changed, especially at this exact tournament. When it happened to Ricky Fowler, he ended up winning the golf tournament, but it could have cost him the golf tournament. And as I told the rules officials last night, it's like everybody says we're going to change it for the better, we're going to do this and that, we're close or whatever, but nothing seems to get done. And unless you come out on a platform like I did, it somewhat influences the change. That's what I meant by the rulings and everything else.
You wrote that. Sorry.
Yeah. Go. Yeah.
You wrote that you wonder why guys are looking to join another tour. Do you feel like a lack of accountability or the rules issue is why guys are thinking about?
I think it's a whole everything. You got to look at yourself as a policy board member. Look at yourself in the face. As I said, is like, what can I do better as a player director? What can the executive committee do, executive directors do better to make sure that we are the best tour in the world? And if it's the PGA Tour's rewarding us by using social media in their platforms now, but they don't like it when you don't say something that may not be up to their standard. But you're rewarded on it. You know, I'm on no means trying to win the player impact program, but I wanted to get my point across that there's rules out there in the game of golf that should be changed. I wasn't near the golf ball. I had no intent to hit the golf ball, and the ball moved after I dropped it twice, and I have to put it down where the ball landed. I have no control over that. I turn my back, and the ball goes in the water. How is that a rule that is good for the game of golf and how we play? I mean, not one person at a country club would have took another penalty for that. Why is in professional golf are we doing that? It's not the first time it's happened. So you have to use what I have, because obviously what the players have said and our person that sits on their board and sits with them, it hasn't gotten through to them. And I talked to the USGA last night, and hopefully they got the point. And hopefully it does change. So hopefully a little bit of hard times for me going through this, probably going to catch a ton of crap, will make the game better. And hopefully the PGA Tour and the policy board and everybody gets together and we keep everybody here. Right, so and we play in the U.S. the best game of golf in the world, and we have the best players play week in and week out here in the United States.
Well, you made a pretty giant leap, though, going from this rules infraction to,
yes,
players
strategically.
Yeah.
If I just gripe about a rule, no one probably catches it. No one says anything.
How much thought did you put in before?
A decent amount. So I put a jab in there on purpose, so the media would catch it.
And Jay Monahan's name too.
Well, Jay, it was sorry Jay is that I was doing this, because I have a great relationship with Jay and I have nothing but admiration for what Jay does for this tour and how hard he works. So it was a sorry Jay I know he's going, this isn't an easy time for the PGA Tour. So that's what sorry Jay, that's why I said we need to do better. We as player directors, as executive directors, commissioners, everybody, we need to do better to make sure we keep everybody here in the U.S.
So you're one of the few players on the policy board. Yeah. Is the system in place not working?
I think it works really good, but we have a threat. I mean, that's real. I mean, you can't hide under a rock and say it's not. And there's no way that it's ever crossed my mind to go over and play for a competitor ever. And it was never, if it came across in that Instagram post that I have been reached by them, I have not been reached by them, it came across wrong. I added that so the media would catch it, so I would prove my point on the rule side.
Did you hear from fans today at all, and did it impact your play?
No, my play was bad. I won't have any tour to play on if I keep playing the way I did today. No, I mean, not really. I actually expected more. No, I just didn't play good. I got off to a bad start, had drive on 1 or 10 that went out of bounds. I thought it was good and just never got it going today. Was I thinking about what I said? Of course I was. I mean, could it affect me? Maybe. I don't think it. Wasn't emotionally set on it. The fans were fine. It wasn't anything like that. I just didn't play a good round of golf, and hopefully my point got across. Hopefully it didn't get misunderstood that I support any other league by any means, because I do not. I support the PGA Tour through and through, and I have no intentions of going playing in another league. But it is a real threat.
So it's fair to say that you chose your words carefully. It wasn't in the heat of the moment.
It was definitely in the heat of the moment. I mean, there's no question there. But as I told the rules official when I was done with the ruling, that they said, "Oh, we're working on this." Well, I said this should have been taken care of X amount of years ago when it happened to Ricky at this tournament. They said that's not taking care of it. That's too long in between. I mean, the reality is livelihood. I don't know. I mean, one shot is, no matter what happens, is going to affect me point-wise, something somewhere down the line. I don't know what it's going to be. It's going to affect me on a bogus rule that I hopefully changes for the better in the long run. Hopefully we learn from it.
But it seemed to me anyway that the PGA Tour official just enforced the rule that's in place
100%.
and protected the field. You mentioned
He protected me. Well, I was about to just place it there and not take a penalty whatsoever. I'm glad I called him over. It's not the PGA Tour rules fault. I could argue that the line was in the wrong spot, that a ball shouldn't ever roll after placing it. I mean, I could argue that that's here nor there. But the PGA Tour knows there's a rule that's not great in it, which they did a good job a few years back at changing a bunch of rules. But I thought, I was under the impression that rule had been changed also. I was wrong. I take total accountability for that. And I'm lucky that I called a rules official over, because normally I work at a pretty quick pace and I just do it on my own, because I don't know if I think I know all the rules, but I think I'm pretty caught up with most of the rules. But obviously I'm making a stance for the USGA to change this, and I think the partnership between the USGA and the PGA Tour has gotten much better through the last handful of years. But there's no way that that's good for the game of golf when balls move like that and couldn't affect the outcomes of golf tournaments.
how many texts on your phone when you woke up?
Not a ton. I talked to like I said, I talked to the USGA, I talked to PGA Tour last night. I am sure on the social media thread there was a ton. I'm not a huge social media guy to begin with, and that's the platform I chose to use. Looking back, could I have done it behind closed doors? Probably, but sometimes that doesn't always work.
All right, Charlie, thank you.
Yep.
Thanks for stopping. I appreciate it.
Which rules official?